This is the True Real Estate 911 podcast with Lisa Treu. Lisa will share up-to-date real estate information with you that you need to know.
Welcome to True Real Estate 911. It's Brian Mudd along with your local real estate pro, Lisa Treu. We have the latest information for you that you need to know in terms of current market conditions, but also some important information as we are seeing a lot of new construction back in the Palm Beaches and South Florida generally, and some of what is important to you before you buy new construction, and also the considerations that go into the real estate transaction, the process protections when you are buying, especially new construction homes, but also when you're buying a home generally, because one of the things that I think has been long misunderstood is that, real estate agents don't matter as much when you're buying. Well, that's not the case at all. There are fall-through rates that can demonstrate just how substantial the difference is, let alone the terms, the negotiation, just the overall stress in the process too. So we're going to talk about that on today's show. But before we get started, if you're not already at TrueRealEstate911.com, well, go there. It's TrueRealEstate911.com. Best local resource you're going to find for real estate information, including the ability to search the MLS in real time like a real estate agent, just like the real estate pros do. The Treus pay for that service so that you can use it for free. Pretty neat. And it's a heck of a lot more timely than information you're going to find on sites like Zillow, for example. So that's TrueRealEstate911.com. And of course, buying, selling questions 7 days a week. The Treus, resource that are there to help. 561-972-8326. And because we are in season, because of the changing considerations with real estate, I kind of wanted to start just by getting an overall feel for where we are right now. What is the local real estate market in Palm Beach County looking like?
It's a 4-letter word right now, and it's called busy.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm like, that can go several directions, and most of them that come to mind weren't good. So.
Yes,
good.
we're ready.
Right.
You're ready
Busy's
to bleep me. Yes, we're busy. We're seeing offers on property. We're seeing buyers coming down. We had a great weekend of putting both our properties under contract and putting properties under contract for our clients, our buyers. It's just busy. That is the best word I can use to describe it right now.
Okay, so where is it busiest then?
We're selling everything from single family homes to investments to condos. I mean, you name it, really. The buyers are here. And the spring buyer has already started,
okay,
which is new. And we had this happen 2 years ago when interest rates dipped down in the threes. It caused people to expedite their plans. This year, we're seeing it for the other reason, is they're concerned about what will interest rates be. So buyers that normally would have waited till March or April or even May are starting to say, maybe I should just go ahead and get my property under contract and lock in that rate.
Well, about that, something interesting that's happened really over just the last week to week and a half. We've actually seen mortgage rates kind of top out for the cycle it had been in, which was progressively inching upward.
Yes.
And mortgage rates have actually come back down. In fact, I've actually seen some go out back at 30-year fixed under 4% in the last week again.
Yes, they've settled. They certainly have. And it is, I think that the buyers now have taken this as, okay, it's time to just stop thinking that if rates go up, they'll always come down, right? So I think what people are saying is, okay, I've been waiting and waiting for maybe legitimate reasons, and now it's time. I can buy a home. I need to go ahead and do that. So yes, they've settled. Things have calmed down a little bit. It's time to take that opportunity and buy the home, get the rate locked in while they have settled down. If you can do a 15-year or even a 10-year, the rates are phenomenal right now.
And that's something else to consider, too, is that, not only have we seen so much volatility in mortgage rates generally, people think, well, if they're heading higher, then everything might do it in lockstep. Well, to your point, there's actually, when you get these moments of volatility, a lot of room and delineation in the what in the financial markets, they call it the spread between the different types of products. So, for example, it's not as though the 10-year and the 15-year is going to move in lockstep with the 30-year. And we've actually seen some divergence there that can create some additional opportunities with some of those shorter duration mortgages that you're talking about.
Yeah, many of them are very attractive right now. And so, it's worth the conversation if you can afford to pay that extra premium down. Why not take advantage of the amazing rates and then also becoming debt free even faster?
So let's talk about buying. This is one of the greatest misconceptions I think that exist out there, that somehow or another, the buying agent might not be as important as a listing agent, for example. Why is that incorrect?
Well, first of all, there's two different types of ways that somebody can represent you. They can represent the transaction. So they're not representing you at all. They're representing the deal. When they're giving you advice, it's what's best to get the deal done. The second way is that they're representing you as the buyer, just like as a listing agent's generally representing the seller. I believe everybody in a transaction has the right to have somebody on their side.
Yeah.
And the good news is when you're buying a home, the seller, the builder, or even the for sale by owner is paying the commission 99.9% of the time. So it's the one time where you can be picky about who you choose, having the best of the best, where it's not costing you any more than what if you just hired somebody who was brand new into real estate. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing as buying a home and that benefit.
Yeah, to your point, if you were in a legal situation and you were contesting someone else and you wouldn't take a look at an attorney and go, oh, I think I'll use the same attorney that they're using.
Well, and it's also like mediation is a good example, right? So if you were in a dispute and both parties agreed to mediate, you have somebody who's on the side of getting a deal worked out, right? Yeah. It's not necessarily that it's going to be in your favor or the other party's favor. They're working to get you both to kind of come together to be a resolution. And that's what transaction brokerage relates to in the law field to the real estate field. And once again, even when we do transaction brokerage, so if somebody comes to us and they want to buy our listing, by law, we're a transaction broker. The state says so. Mm-hmm. The way that we do it, and the reason we do it so well, is we have two different divisions. So we have a marketing division that represents the seller, and we have a buyer's division that represents the buyer. And they know everything about the property and about the qualification of the buyer, but they don't know about the motivation of either party.
Okay, right.
So even though we're transaction brokers, I'm not representing both parties. And I have two separate people representing two separate people. And we found that works really well. The client feels heard, and I think they get better advice because I don't know the whole story of the other side.
Sure.
But I'm trying not to tell the other person.
Right. Well, it makes perfect sense. I mean, we all know that ultimately a real estate transaction is a negotiation until you're closed. And especially if you're talking about, existing home sales in which inspections might reveal that there are, some things that might require some work or, any inspector is going to flag something just for the sake of flagging it, even if everything theoretically was perfect. And understanding what's real, what value needs to be taken into account, what really needs to be dealt with prior to purchasing a home, that is critical information that if you have someone that is just representing the transaction, as you say, you might not necessarily be able to entirely trust the motivation of the information that you're hearing.
And we have another thing that we always talk about is that who we are is as important as what we do. And we have several secret weapons on our team.
Secret weapons?
Secret weapons. One of them is Chris Treu. Mm-hmm. He handles our contract to close part, and he thinks outside of the box. And that comes from years of working, I say the brain damage of the business of short sales. And having to think creatively. He just got a deal pulled together that on one of our buyers bought a foreclosure and there was a dispute. Imagine that. There was a dispute between the homeowners association and the bank. Imagine, right? And our buyer's ready to move into her new property, and guess what? Can't get the resolution.
No.
So Chris got involved and because of connections, finally got the deal done. And so she will be closing and moving in. And she got a heck of a deal, by the way, which is why we told her, don't leave that deal, stay in it. So having somebody who thinks outside of the box when issues come up and connections and having the ability to keep deals together, it takes truly that level of expertise. And he is truly the best of the best of the best when it comes to that part. Our buyer's agents are amazing at getting you the deal.
Yeah.
And when you're up against multiple offers, getting you the deal and then also structuring it in a way that makes sense. So we had a property we were concerned about appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were able to creatively structure the deal so the seller was doing inspections after appraisal.
Yeah.
So the buyer was saving their money in case for some reason that appraisal didn't happen. We were also able, it didn't appraise, so we were able to renegotiate and get the price down. Having that expertise of knowing how to solve those issues, I mean, it's easy when it's easy. However, most deals aren't easy.
I was going to say, how many really are just easy?
And the challenge is that you don't know if it's going to be easy until you're in it. So
Right.
you need and you deserve having, not just by hiring one person, you're hiring a whole team of people. When there's a challenge, it comes to Chris, it comes to Steve, it comes to me, and we all come together with that agent and say, okay, how can we overcome this challenge? You're not first of all, as a buyer, you're not paying us anything.
Right.
But you're not paying any more for that versus just having one agent trying to do their best that they can.
Yeah, and it can literally make or break the difference in getting closed or not. You talked about fall-throughs increasing again, in part because of appraisal issues and some other related, things that can come up that can totally crash deals right there. And I know that over the years, a lot of those different issues you've been able to work through due to your expertise.
Yes, I mean, we know what we know because we've been through this many, many times, and it's the school of hard knocks. I mean, I started selling real estate in 1989 and have taken my fair share of hard knocks to learn what we've learned. And yet the great news is that each time we go through a challenge, we learn from it and we overcome it. And then next time we know we can not only overcome it, next time we can see it coming and we can hopefully avoid it.
Well, and I can certainly speak to that. Everything you're talking about, including the expertise of Chris Treu and the ability to package and negotiate and get deals done. Simply we wouldn't have been able to sell 2 underwater properties and buy our home had it not been for your entire team working the way you're talking about, being able to negotiate and get those deals done.
Yeah, it does take a whole team. And it's funny. We, sometimes people think they only need me. And the reality is, yes, I obviously have an expertise in an important part on the team. And yet it's no more important than all the pieces of us working together. It's hard to get on our team. I have 3 positions I'm interviewing for, and I will probably have 100 resumes before one person will come in to actually meet with us, because I believe our clients deserve that level of service and that level of expertise. So good is just not good enough. They have to be great, or they have to have the pathway to be great pretty quickly in order to even get on the team. So if I'm that picky, it's really for our buyers and sellers. It's not for me. It'd be easier if I just hired anybody.
Well, and it's exactly what we would want when we're talking about transactions as significant as, purchasing or selling a home, as the case may be. And there's another situation that you want to talk about. We are seeing more new construction again. This had been something that really wasn't an issue for a number of years after the recession. But with a lot of the new constructions coming back in, you've run across some situations in which people might be making mistakes with how they're going about purchasing those new construction homes.
Well, this goes for new construction as well as open houses. When you walk through new construction, first of all, if you're considering buying, I'd prefer you just call us and let's have a conversation, and we are happy to go with you that first time. That's the ideal way. If you do walk into a builder or an open house, do not register if you want representation without putting us down as your agent and letting them know that I am going to be represented. And then we can then help you with a multitude of things. First of all, if you go in there without us, you're not going to save any money. That's the first misconception.
Yep.
They think that they're paying for us, or they think the builder's going to give them a break. They're not.
Yep.
The price is the price. All builders will cooperate with us. And they will allow us to represent you as your buyer's agent. What we've been able to do for clients that have had new construction is we've been able to help pick models, look at upgrades, which upgrades make sense, because in the future, you're going to call me and you're going to be a seller.
Yeah.
And if you spent $250,000 on a lot premium, guess what? You're not getting that back.
Yeah.
And so we may And that's fine if you want to do,
Sure.
as long as you know that that's kind of like a new car. When the minute you drive it off the lot, the value goes down.
Yeah, if you're going to trade that in a few years, then not the best move probably.
Right. So we're going to discuss maybe there's a better option.
Yep.
That still gives you the essence of what you're looking, but isn't maybe $250,000, which is shocking what some of the lot premiums are today. We're going to go through which extras make sense, which selections maybe make sense if you're teetering between two choices. Now, once again, if you're going to live there for 20 years, doesn't matter. Do what you want. But if you are going to call me in 3, 5, 7 years, let's talk about options. Let's talk about which options make best financial decisions. Maybe there's some changes for what you're looking for that are easy, that won't cost you a lot. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of floor plans, so we can help with that. And then when it comes time to walk through, we can help you be that extra set of eyes. Because often what we see is, if you haven't purchased new construction before, you think you're walking in and everything's going to be perfect.
Right.
And that's not the case. And so having somebody that can help you go around and say, no, they need to fix this, and that's not right, and this isn't level, and just that extra set of eyes going along. You deserve that. And you deserve somebody on your side, not just somebody sitting at the model that day who represents either no one or the builder. Same thing with open houses. Open houses are fine. Just once again, just let them know. I mean, we have it all the time. We do open houses. We respect the fact if somebody has an agent. That's completely fine. Come look, enjoy yourself, and make sure that you have your chosen real estate team that's going to represent you. Like I said, tell them up front so that they're not, coming and chasing after you. But the reality is you have a choice as a buyer. And many people think even builders will tell you, oh, no, you can't do that. No, you can choose to have your agent protecting you and representing you.
I get the feeling as though some situations you're coming across, people are almost being duped into basically signing away their rights to representation.
They are, it's kind of like the car accident commercials you see on TV all the time, right? Like don't, the insurance calls you, like get advice first.
Right.
And, we really represent all types of builders, and there's not one that's, ideal. It's what's ideal for you.
Right.
Right. So we know about all the builders, that we know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And like I said, we can help you. And even a good builder can have a challenging issue.
Sure.
And so what happens when you have those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, take a look at cars. There probably isn't a brand of vehicle that hasn't had a recall over the last 5 years, right? And
Sure.
it doesn't mean that some of the cars aren't phenomenal vehicles, but every now and then something goes wrong.
Sure.
And that certainly can with a house. And when it's your house, that can be an awfully big deal.
It can. And I find that a lot of times when you're in there making your upgrades and your selections, that's the one area where we can be the most help. Because a lot of people don't realize that just because they paid something that is really worth a whole lot of nothing in the future. And we can save people thousands of dollars of a surprise later. And it's just like putting in a pool. To put in a pool, you're going to get maybe, if you're lucky, half of the value back when you go to sell it. Now, if you want the pool for your own pleasure, great. But make an informed decision of what you're going to do. And maybe you don't spend $100,000 on a pool, maybe you spend $50,000 on a pool. So it's just those choices and having the complete picture, and that's what we can do for people.
All right, and the Treus, they're ready to help you right now. So feel free to reach out to them 7 days a week, 561-972-8326. 561-972-8326. And again, if you're not there, go to TrueRealEstate911.com.